growing up, I would ask myself, why am I different from everybody else? Right? I'm different
Right.
because my family fled a war, right? Why am I right? Why am I always portrayed as a cuck, right? Because of my family lost the war, right?
Yeah.
And look, the thing is that I take a
Well,
lot of
part of
inspiration
being
from.
blackballed is because you're Asian. Hey, how you doing? It's your boy Stephen Lee from System Unfiltered, and today I have DJ Elf 7, People's Activist. I met DJ Elf during COVID, and he was very big in all the protests that we done, Asians for Black Lives Matter and Black Lives Matter protests, and of course, for Stop Asian Hate and They Can't Burn Us All. DJ Elf has been very helpful. He's a very aggressive people's activist. May have rubbed some people in the wrong way, but you know what I'm saying? His heart is in the right place, and he really cares about what he's saying, and he actually does, a lot of the stuff that he says he does. You know what I mean? So very active guy. Elf, take it away, man. Introduce yourself. Who are you? What are you doing? What do you got to say? My platform is your platform, brother. Go ahead.
I really appreciate that. It's an honor to be on this
Yeah.
platform, just so you know. I'm actually inspired by whistleblowers like yourself. I actually am on tonight to actually whistleblow on things going on in the third party independent movement. Just so you know,
Okay.
I'm actually hold New York City's only third party independent candidate debates. I've done this for several cycles. I also have had different candidate forums with candidates all across the nation, crossing party lines to see what we can agree on. We've had discussion panels on criminal justice reform, military reform, all kinds of different issues.
Hmm.
And this is still going on to this day. We actually have something coming up in April with actually a lady who's actually reformed taxes in over 20 towns, and she's going to actually be giving a workshop. So the thing is that I really kind of start to activate more politically after I didn't make it through med school. So I actually came back and I was like, what am I going to do?
Right.
And then I saw that Tulsi Gabbard was running. I was very inspired because I know that she's AAPI, right?
Right.
That she was in the military. So no, before there's some issues that came up though, just so you know. So the thing is, I was very involved politically, and then I was also studying the other movements too. And the thing is
Right.
that Andrew Yang stepped in later. He's also an AAPI candidate, so I was interested, but I just didn't feel like he had the experience. But while I was volunteering for that campaign, because I would like to work with all the campaigns, right?
So real quick,
Yeah,
before you get into all that, our audience, like I see a lot of things in the comment, like who are you? So, introduce who you are first, like where you are, like you're born, you're native New Yorker, or like where you born, who are you, stuff like that. And also,
sure.
what is the third party? What is a third party candidate? You said.
I have
Uh,
okay. My name's DJL7. I'm a New Yorker. I'm actually running for
Okay.
office now in New York, which is actually for Zoran's seat before he became mayor for Assembly District. I'm in Long Island City,
Okay.
and
Good.
I grew up in the country, but I've been here in New York City for over 20 years.
Okay.
And, let me see, so, yeah, I also hold New York City's only third-party independent candidate debates, so that's on my YouTube, you can check it out. Also, besides that, right, I've done that for several cycles now. I also have something called the Unified Platform USA.com, where I have candidates from all over the nation get together and see what we can agree on. Greens, Republicans, Democrats, Libertarians, they've all participated,
Okay.
and as well as others. And I also so this is significant, and
Yeah. So I just want to point out that from my personal experience, I can see that you don't really adhere to party lines, right? Like you don't really care if
correct.
somebody's Democrat or Republican or independent or whatever stuff like that. Seen you, like help out with the Yang Gang stuff. I seen you help out with was the Working Party or something like that, right?
I
Um,
work with all of them. The thing is that I look at it like mixed martial arts. Back in the days, people would say, "Oh, Taekwondo's better or boxing's better," but in the end, it's really up to the individual more than the actual
correct,
style as terms
correct.
of
I,
what
I totally agree
wins.
with that. Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
so,
Good.
I think that all the movements have something to offer, but, I have right now hitched myself with the Republicans, and I know that's actually a lot of people have different feelings about that, and I understand those feelings. But the thing is that there's a way that Republicans are portrayed on TV. We're going to get to some of that today in terms of the whistleblowing that's going on in third party space, which does actually touch upon the duopoly as well too.
Okay. So by third party space, you mean the independents, or what do you mean by that?
Well,
For those
okay.
who are not like that politically inclined, yeah.
So I've been an activist for over 25 years, been going on 30 years now. And the thing is that it's probably been 30 years now already. I'm actually 49. I know I look quite youthful, but I'm
Yeah,
much older.
man, you look young, bro. That's good.
Yeah. So, anyways, yeah. So, the thing is, back in the '90s, when I was first registered to be in, political, and I was involved with student activism and all this other thing, I actually joined the Green Party because I dealt
Great
with
point.
Democrats, and they would say one thing, and then when we actually went to the voting chamber, then all of a sudden something would change, and I'm like,
Right.
what is this?" So we were already talking about the duopoly back in those days, and I felt like I there was a good reason for a third party. So I ended up joining the Greens, and I had been a Green for until all the way until the time when I was talking about earlier about having joined the Tulsi campaign, right? Because I was
Mhm.
anti-war. I'm Korean American, so a lot of my life I grew up, there was the during the Olympics, right? The Koreans were holding the signs "Yankee Go Home." So I was like, why are we? I thought America's the good guys. What's going on? I was a young kid. I didn't know what's better.
Right.
And then that kinda opened my eyes to, like, seeing, some and I think that my perspective as a war victim and war survivor has helped me to be more skeptical of the news and the media, especially, internationally. So, you can see that the people now who get to comment on what's going on with the war, entertainers, celebrities, party leadership, they really haven't been affected by war the same way. And I'm not saying that I appreciate them being a part of it, but they can't replace the voices because certain things are missed and certain priorities. So the third party movement and the anti-war movement, by the way, have often been tied together. Because the thing is that the duopoly, we see like, people say Trump's so bad for doing the war now, and I don't agree with it either, but Biden was making all the same moves. The war in Ukraine, no matter
Yeah.
which who's in
Yeah.
office, Republican, Democrat, there's always wars going on. Like it's its own thing. So
It's just get highlighted different. Yeah.
yeah. So I was really turned on by Tulsi, and then the thing is that that's actually how I found out about your campaign, because when I was with the Yang Gang, right, I was like, "Yo, this guy Steve Lee's awesome. He took on the police department.
Right.
He's got that real people want to believe it because you were running for office, and you
Yeah.
want a candidate you can believe in, someone who's actually sacrificed to tell the truth, right? Not these kinds of, well, I'm in a suit and tie. Like anybody could wear a suit and tie, but not everybody can sacrifice for the truth. So I thought you were a really special candidate, and that I was kind of going hard for you. Like, I didn't really, maybe you weren't really as much in the Facebook group, but I was going hard. I was also questioning other ties that Yang Gang was starting to make with other establishment politicians and saying, why are
Yes.
we supporting these establishment politicians against someone who has
Yeah.
this record of
Yeah.
authenticity and integrity? Like, it just doesn't make sense
Yeah.
to me. I think this is
Especially
still true.
especially when that person I don't wanna bring up the beef, right? But especially when that person actually talked bad and was against Andrew Yang's policies, and
I could say the
then
name.
no, I
Well, he
don't
turned
wanna
out to
bring
be
up
right, I
names, you
guess,
know what I
because I
mean?
don't like
It's
Yang.
all in the past now. The guy actually
Yeah, it is.
changed now. He's changed, like,
We'll
uh,
see.
his way of, his policies and stuff like that. Like, just for the people that don't know that I was running for state assembly. If you wanna do the research and find out the name, you could do it yourself. But, the person at the time was very far left. Nothing's wrong with that. It's just
I
that
think he
at
still
the time,
is.
there was a lot of Asians that were being attacked, and then he was trying to abolish the police at that time. Also, he wasn't highlighting us Asians being attacked. He dismissed it, and then he was actually helping other groups like Black Lives Matter, stuff like that, more than he was helping Asians, which is nothing wrong with that. But thing is, if you're Asian, I would expect you to, at least highlight our issues also. But we got ignored by this person. This person was also Asian that I ran against. And then he was, playing both sides of the fence. He would say, abolish the police, and then he would go and donate vans to the 109 precinct, which made no sense to me, right? So if you're gonna do something, then do something, right? Like if you're gonna say abolish the police, then be about abolish the police and defunding them instead of going and in public you're donating vans and stuff like that and doing photo ops, and then next minute you're deep on the police. It made no sense to me. So, but yeah, I understand what you're saying. Like,
I still respect that guy's work, and it's his name or
yeah,
not, but that guy's still a pioneer for my people, but you are also a
hmm,
pioneer. You are
right,
right. You also deserve your time and your
right.
recognition. You are
Just,
historically
just
relevant.
for just for the record, like you're saying, your people are Korean, correct?
Yeah, Korean American, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
He's the first elected, Korean in state history. You guys could look it up or not, but he is actually,
Oh,
so
really? I didn't know
yeah.
that. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Congratulations to
so
him. Like congratulations to
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
person.
He's a pioneer
He
for
worked.
my
He
people.
worked under another pioneer, John Liu, and stuff. But
Yeah, I respect his
you
work
know,
there, but we know also it's not perfect either. So I know, like, you also bring up some things over there too, so yeah.
Hitting it on the nose right there, on the
No one's
button.
perfect.
But
Yeah.
we're not here to talk about them. We're here to talk about you. You know what I'm saying? Like we're here to highlight your issues and hopefully,
Okay.
bring some light to your fight.
We're
So
about to
go
make
ahead.
it we're
Go
about to
ahead.
make it live over here.
Yeah.
So the
Go
thing
ahead,
is
brother.
that after thing is that Tulsi was treated very badly, as was Andrew Yang, right? They were treated badly during the election. The thing is that they got his name wrong a bunch of times. They cut his time short. His mic went off. Like all these
Yeah,
unfair things were going on.
yeah,
Tulsi was also treated very badly. You know, a lot of times mistreatment of Asian Americans is okay, right? Yeah, there's really
yeah,
no one to really come out and help us, and they talk about solidarity all the time. But
yeah.
are the other minorities really helping us? And a lot of
No,
times,
they're not.
no.
They're not.
And
They're
yeah,
not. Imma say it. They're not, right?
but
This
the
system
thing is that
unfiltered,
some of them
we're
are,
not
but
gonna
also the news doesn't cover it. But there's also, right,
right,
overall in the culture, it's just not really talked about. It's not really discussed, and it's not encouraged. So
right.
there's different things like, I have had black people have my back straight up, like actually more of them have my back nowadays than actually other Asian Americans. You're one of the we're actually both kind of outcasts in the Asian American community
Yeah,
because the gatekeepers said, don't take care of this guy. Once again, your work is, backed by Serpico. You've actually caused a reexamination at the
yeah,
NAB Commission. This is historically relevant. And this is the
yeah,
kind of Asian American that I want to have someone that I could be proud of who said that I'm going to stand for what's right.
yeah,
But they want actually some other kind of Asian.
yeah. Yeah, I actually seen other Asians, that used to be that were part of Yang Gang, stuff like that, and they were actually, like, trying to remove you from some of the protesters and stuff like that. They were blocking you and stuff, and,
Yeah,
you know, it
let's
was crazy. It was
let's
crazy.
get in some of
Yeah,
that part. So the thing is that because of the mistreatment of Tulsi, right, Gabbard, during the election, where they said that she wasn't running when she was, and all this other thing, a lot of people from the Tulsi actually ended up joining this thing called Movement for a People's Party because it was, advertised by Jimmy Dore, right? And a lot of other celebrities as well too. Cornel West ended up backing up. I think people's from Andrew Yang himself did not attend the People's Party convention, but you can remember that a lot of people from Yang Gang did.
right.
Do you know what I'm talking
What
about?
year is
Right?
this from?
Huh?
What year is this video from?
This is 5 years
5 years
ago.
ago. Okay,
Yeah. So this is actually from July 13th, 2020. This
okay.
video. So if I take a look over here, you could see that I'm actually leading Yang Gang, New York City. You're actually leading.
All right, check it out, your boy L7.
Our Revolution New Jersey, our Revolution New York, right? These are big names. Also, People's Party in New
Right
York.
now, we got a bunch of people.
That's Paige from Yang Gang. I don't know if you remember her.
Yeah, and you got the math hat on, bro.
I do. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
the Yang Gang I was part of their crew. I still consider
yeah,
myself Yang Gang, but the thing is that I have a problem with Yang right now about the way I've been treated.
right,
And but I'm not saying everything he did was bad, but I'm not going to allow myself to be stepped on or allow
right.
my. So we're going to get to all of that today. So you can see me leading, right? Medicare for all this other thing. Actually, I found some bad things about that as well too. Anyways, yeah. So I actually was the New York State coordinator for something called the People's Party, and actually the convention where Yang Gang people were attending, I set that whole thing up, right? And, I had a little bit more political experience as an activist, not really as an electoral guy, but, a little bit from the Green Party. But the Green Party never really achieved like, mass adoption. So more of our work was actually like, trying to change like local policy, right? Rather than actually get our people elected because we knew it was just such a wide gap. When I was working with the Tulsi people, I actually found that there was strange things going on, as in terms of like when we were trying to the Yang Gang people, it was very new. So there was a lot of grassroots people involved at first, and there was like a lot of cross pollination between different like geographic regions. So New York would talk to California, and people would go traveling back and forth to Iowa all over the place.
Right.
In Tulsi land, it was extremely siloed off. They would try to keep all the groups from the different regions like separated from each other, and they didn't want them communicating at all.
Why is
Yeah.
that?
There was other strange things going on. Like, I was, I'd run businesses well before. So the thing is that there was a phone bank operation. There was a guy named Trent Poole, and we're going to start to look at open secrets and see some of the really weird things that was going on there that are still actually going on to this day. Pop that open right quick. Okay. So the thing is that, when I was working with Tulsi, I actually, got pretty high up and I got to see some things. So let's see if I could share this right now. Okay. So you ever heard of this website called Open Secrets?
No.
Okay.
What is it?
Open Secrets, actually what they do is they track campaign expenditures. So you can see like if they're getting PAC money
Okay.
or all this other thing. So go to
So you get to
opensecrets.com.
follow the money.
Yeah. And the thing is
Okay.
that we can see over here, there's this company called Accelerate 2020. It's a strange name, right? I actually did another dive onto like some videos that are on my channel, but I'm going to show you some of the crazy things that's going on here. So the thing is that Accelerate 2020, let's see their recipient profile. So you can see that in 2016 they existed, but there was they received no payments.
Right.
But they did log in and they did create paperwork to create their organization. 18, we can see there's no money again. Then in 2020, remember I said that's when I was working with Tulsi. So we can see
Mhm.
Tulsi received $373,000. You'll see
Okay.
this number come, so about a third of $1 million.
Okay.
Brock Pierce, you know who Brock Pierce is?
No.
Okay. Brock Pierce actually, if you could, I'll actually Google it and I'll look it up in another thing, but he actually has a tie to Epstein. He's a crypto billionaire who was a kid actor who was inside something called the Mighty Ducks. And there's a lot of, he's a very fierce proponent for Israel, just so you know. Okay. And it's
Okay.
interesting that he paid double the money from Tulsi but you never heard of Brock Pierce before, right?
Right.
How effective was it? And why are they sliding more money? They were actually doing, the thing is that what Accelerate 2020 does is ballot access. So what they do is they do petitioning. So
Okay.
you saw Tulsi people on the street getting petitions for people to run for office. I never saw anybody getting any signatures for Brock Pierce. So where did that $700,000 go? Very interesting, right? Rocky
Right.
101 LLC is a small local thing. Now you're going to see something very interesting happen. So when I was working with the Tulsi group, I actually have in another video. Actually, let me see if I think it's worth bringing up. So let me see if I can bring that up in another thing. I actually, this guy told me to go pee like in Times Square. Right? So I was like, this is very weird behavior. And I started contacting people. Yeah, he tried to set me up. And he
What do you mean
also,
pee in Times Square? Like, actually go in Times Square and urinate in public? Like, take a
yeah,
piss in public?
because the thing is that like I actually set us up for, we actually did a protest in front of, was it Good Morning America? Right? Because the thing is that
Mhm.
they weren't treating Tulsi fairly. So we said, we're going to try to get ourselves on TV. So we went to Good Morning America, right? For the morning show, which they filmed live. And they were
Right.
holding up saying, right, yeah, treat Tulsi fair and stuff like that, right?
So let me ask you a question real quick, right? While you're on protesters and stuff like that, and this guy telling you to set up situations and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people wonder, let's get the elephant out of the room. Are some protesters paid? Like, are there professional
Oh,
agitators and
absolutely.
professional protesters that are paid?
That's a whole nother thing. It taps into this somewhat, but the thing is that okay, let's take a look, right? The thing is that you know that the US
Because
has
some people have been
control over.
attacking me and saying, "Oh, they're not paid. Oh, you're just far right." And I'm like, "No, I'm not right or left. Like, I'm just trying to tell the truth, you know." Like, and from what I seen and what I heard, like I seen with my own eyes, like protesters getting like controlled and paid by a certain person. Like, there's other
Yeah,
ex
I understand where
during my
people
yeah, during my campaign, I seen kids, um, that were, like, protesting on something, and then I'm like, "Why are you here?" I tried to ask them about the issue because I genuinely didn't know about the issue, and I was like, "Oh, what are you guys protesting? Why are you guys here?" And he's like, "I don't know." And I'm like, "So then why are you here?" They go, "'Cause they paid me to be here." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, that makes sense." But
okay,
okay,
well,
alright, so it's confirmed.
if
Alright,
if
go
if
ahead.
we were going to watch a high school basketball game, it might be an honest game, right? Yeah. But if we're
Yeah,
watching an NBA championship finals game, right, where actually the team that wins can win billions of dollars, right? Even if the players want to play honestly, there's a lot of people with something to gain if that team wins. So you'll
right,
have fans, you'll have like other people trying to pay off the refs, all kinds of, right, when there's so much at stake. So the thing is that remember, right, this is not like high school basketball. This is more than NBA. This is for everything. This is control the judges, to control the DA, to control a lot of, right, different influence. So if you think that
right,
this can be a clean game, okay, also remember that the CIA, right, has been manipulating elections in other countries for decades, right? This is all
right,
public knowledge. What
right,
do you think happens when those people come home? They need to get a job, right? There's a lobbying firm that wants to hire someone who has experience influencing elections. And this stuff is, how can it not happen? You know what I mean? And
right,
I understand
right,
where people want to say Occam's razor and things like that, but this is not a high school basketball game. This is for big stakes. And when there's big stakes going on, you're going to have a bunch of people trying to tip the scale. So wake
right,
up and
right.
stop pretending this is a high school basketball game. This is for everything. Yeah?
Right. So
Okay.
just to make the record straight, you're saying that politics is influenced by outside entities.
Also domestic, right? There's once again, when it's at stake, right? It doesn't have to be just the players who are playing the game, right? You have
Right, right.
people who are like owning local businesses, right? Who want to pay
What
off.
about election fraud and stuff like that?
Yeah, even the mayor, right, has something to gain from the home team winning, right? The
Right.
the the possible contracts that come in, the increased tax revenue from sales of jerseys and stuff like that. There's a lot of players who stand to gain something, right? And that can lead to all kinds of shenanigans.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So
Alright.
this guy Trent Poole actually, and we're gonna see like there's actually quite a colorful thing that happens after this. So let me see this one over here. This one is on BitChute because it was actually removed on actually YouTube. So I have backups here. This is actually Trent Poole, okay, right here. And
And who is Trent Poole? Who is
Trent
that?
Poole's this guy over here. You're gonna see. Oh, I have a video on BitChute, right, where I actually did an investigation because once Trent Poole tried to set me up, I said this is very strange. I need to investigate what's going on because he probably did this to other people in other regions.
That's the guy that told you to go pee in Times Square?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But it's gonna get worse because
Okay.
he was actually indicted for assault that happened in Times Square. That happened in New York City when he got hired to work for the RFK campaign. That's another
Okay, so
thing. So right
he's what? He's like a professional agitator, professional
No, no, no.
protester? What who is he?
He's a ballot access director who, remember, is paid before we showed that the average pay is about
I got you.
$370,000. Let's go
Okay.
back for a second, okay? So, but here over here, I actually filmed him when he was in Times Square. He also told me to steal a sign from some anti-war protesters. I was like, what the? I did an investigation to Accelerate 2020 back then as well too. I also looked at Facebook and I looked at the also Accelerate 2020. You can see that for a group that does all this political work, you would think that they would have a presence on social media. Twitter,
Right.
right?
Right, right,
Instagram. They did, but I also recorded, right? Because they've adjusted that as time has gone on. But they didn't even advertise the fact that they got a US presidential candidate. And you could see they had no clients in 2016, 2018, and then all of a sudden 2020, their very first candidate, right? Brock Pierce, a billionaire, right? Crypto billionaire, and also Tulsi Gabbard. That's she was kind of a fringe candidate, but she was also right. That's a big like I would be bragging about if I got a US presidential candidate as a client, I'd be like, yo, look at me. Look at me, right?
right.
It was mysteriously absent, and you're going to see the growth become incredible. So let's go back to the Open Secrets over here. Take a look at their thing. So here we're back at the we're back in 2020, and we can see that he was working with Tulsi. And just so you know, there was I don't know if you remember the strategy during that time, but Iowa was the first state that votes in the presidential election. So if whoever wins that primary is a big deal, and Yang had all his people trying to win Iowa. But Tulsi won a different round, tried to win New Hampshire because New Hampshire is the second state to vote, right?
Right.
So the thing is that there was a phone banking operation that was going on in New Hampshire, and people from New York would go regularly up to New Hampshire to go and knock on doors and all that, and I was part of that operation.
Mhm.
The thing is that the phone banking operation went down the week just before the primary when it was very important. And who was in charge of that? Trent Poole. And I've worked many elections since that time and before that time and never saw a phone bank operation go down the way theirs did. Maybe there was outside interference, but that already made me like suspicious of this guy, Trent, because like, what's up with this guy? But wait
Right.
till you see what happens next because this is even more incredible. So, okay, 2020, we can see honestly the average for about this kind of a contract is $250,000 to $300,000. You can see right here, right? Tulsi's paying about the average, a little bit higher than average. Brock is
Uh-huh.
paying a lot more than normal. We'll look at the numbers now. Let's go to 2022, and we can see that Brock pays. This is a midterms. So Brock for Vermont, he probably running for Congress or Senate. I don't know. 27,000, 3,000, smaller numbers. This is the midterm, right? Okay. Wait till I go to 22, and remember that Trent Poole. I also got complaints from him all across the country, and he made critical fumbles.
Hold on. This is the candidates paying this company, um,
Yeah,
money.
yeah. But wait till
Okay,
you see what happens in
and they're paying for
2024
ballot?
ballot petitions. In 2024, he works for Team Kennedy and gets $9 million. Not only that, not only does he work for Kennedy, RFK, who had ties to Tulsi, by the way, multiple times, he's also working with Jill Stein, Marianne Williamson, Nikki Haley. These are Republicans. I don't know if Nikki Haley's a Republican. Tim Scott's also the black Republican who was actually running for president before. So he has, right, he went from screwing up Tulsi's campaign and alienating people across the country to all of a sudden getting Republicans, Democrats, the big names in the independent third party field to all sign up with him. And now he's right. Remember before the average was about 350 million, right? I mean, 350, 250,000, right? That's the average for ballot.
Right.
But all of a sudden, King Kenny's giving him over $9
10,000,000,
million.
that's a lot of money, man. That's a
All
lot of million, yeah.
the money just multiplied like crazy, right? Yeah. Like Who gets $240,000 one year and the next year also they're making like 9 million? Like the
This is the same Kennedy that's working for Trump right now? That's the
yeah,
same
yeah,
guy?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But it doesn't make sense how those things are tracking together. Just so you know, actually, when let me show you another thing. If I go to Trent Pool and I say assaults, while he was working for RFK, and I had already warned, right? Because you see, I already made videos about how this guy's a problem, and I contacted people all over the country. Trent Pool of Ballot Access was charged with assault and criminal obstruction of breathing in Manhattan on April 27th, 2024. He choked out a 25-year-old witness, and then he was arrested, and then he was released on bond. Right here, you can see this, and he pleaded not guilty. This guy was a nutcase. A lot of people said he was on coke. So like it was just he was acting real weird. And I have a lot of other people from the Tulsi campaign who also testified that this guy Trent Poole was no good. So he went from right alienating everybody in New York City to all right and across the nation. This happened as well too, and then also he got ramped up to $8 million. Not after. Remember, I was also the New York State coordinator for the People's Party, right? Okay.
Right.
The People's Party went through 8 different cycles in New York of different leadership coming and going while they collected the money. And the money went nowhere. And the same money, I can show you the open secrets when you look at how RFK spent his money. They spent on something called Independent National Convention. Okay. And also, guess who replaced after Trent Poole was fired? The guy who was made, you ever heard of a guy called Nick Brana? No. Okay. Nick Brana, you ever heard of the People's Party?
Yes.
Okay. Nick Brana was the head of the People's Party. And also he
Okay.
stole a lot of money and he also got involved in sex accusations. This is some Jeffrey Epstein type of stuff going on. So when I look at I'm going to was it this Independent National Convention? This is strange that they don't have this on a regular site, but there's all kinds of weirdo stuff going on here. Okay, this is the Independent National. They had actually about 4 or 5 of them, right? This one was in Denver. And you can see that they actually had, I raised so much hell now they have Asian faces because they're
Yeah, I
trying
was
to
about
cover.
to say, why they got an Asian guy on there?
Once again, you can see
Okay.
Marion Williamson there. Andrew Yang has been doing work with them. This guy, and you'll see also, I think Jill Stein was also there as well, too. The same people keep showing up again and again. And I'm telling you, this third party independent space has been compromised. Christopher Life, Larry Sharp was there. That's why he's not talking about this. He's running for governor. Nick Brana right here, right? The senior advisor. Now he's a ballot access director to RFK Jr. He took over and he was, let me show you some other stuff about Nick Brana. Okay. Nick Brana, I was running the New York State People's Party. And the thing is that Nick Brana was stealing the money. And also after he got involved in a sex assault allegation, which I'll show you right now, the thing is that they inserted, you know who Scott Ritter is? You said you don't know who Scott Ritter is, right?
No.
Okay, I'm gonna show you something. This is crazy. Okay, Nick Brana. Okay, so here you can see that it says MPP Nick Chair joins in response to sexual harassment allegations. Half of the MPP board was removed amidst investigation into alleged sexual harassment by Nick Brana. There's a culture of enablement that's going on. And the thing is that, okay, let's take a look at who Scott Ritter is. I'm sure you heard of him, but you probably just don't recognize. Okay, remember that there was the weapons of mass destruction in Iraq? Remember that when they said that we
Yeah.
had to go to war in Iraq because of weapons of mass destruction?
Right.
He's the
Right.
inspector who said that that there was no weapons of mass destruction. It's his testimony that kind of made that happen, right? That's
His
significant,
testimony
right?
made it happen that there was no.
There was no weapons of mass destruction. He's the
Okay.
guy who really kind of made it clear that there was no weapons of mass destruction.
Okay.
Okay. He was also convicted of several criminal offenses after engaging in sexually explicit online activity with a police officer who was posing as a 15-year-old girl. He got arrested twice and he did jail time, right? Yeah. Now the thing is that
He's a pedophile too.
yeah, the thing is that he actually, right? And I understand when people say, "Oh, you know what? Maybe he was set up by the government." Okay, I understand that mentality as well too. But okay, the thing is that Scott Ritter has been resurrected in the anti-war scene. That like after Iraq happened, he had a little flash in the pan. After he got arrested, like he kind of went away. Now I can show you if I do look at on YouTube right now. I'm gonna show you right now. You'll see that he pops up on all these podcasts again and again with Jill Stein and the same crew of people, right? Marion Williamson, all these other people are working together as a clique. And the thing is that the reason why they're promoting Scott Ritter, right, is because they're trying to normalize the sexual abuse that Nick Brana was involved in. So other elites inside of the third party space and also the anti-war movement are engaged in sex abuse and theft. But to just like the Jeff Epstein stuff, you never hear from the victims. So to make this stuff normal, they put this guy Scott Ritter into the thing to normalize the second. So the accusation against Nick Brana, oh, that's just the government setting that up or some crap like that. There's a, it's not that there was a lot of tension on the Scott Ritter case, and he actually admitted to certain things, and it's graphic. Like he jerked off on
Okay.
a cam, and
Alright,
he
so
did all
where are you
kinds.
going with all this? Like, lead us to what you're showing us.
Oh, okay, so it goes so deep. So just so you know, I've been actually protesting for a long time. I'm going to show you this over here. Okay, so the thing is that let me share this over here. Okay, so the thing is that to try to get this thing addressed, remember I said that I have New York City's only third party independent candidate debates.
Right.
So this is actually me sharing the screen of actually what happened this year, right? This is actually the conservative and Republican guy for public advocate. This is the conservative mayor candidate. You might know Marty Dolan. And this guy right next to me is actually from the Green Party, Alaska. His name's Josh Hadley. So we have all these candidates, right, agree that we should have a meeting between myself and Jill Stein, right, the leader of the Green Party. Not only that, but I also have this other one with U.S. presidential candidates, including the former Libertarian Party chair, Blake Huber, right, and that's actually right here on the U.S. presidential candidate debate right here.
So
And if you go to,
I don't understand the whole anti-war thing. So like,
okay,
I'm against war myself, right? So it's like, isn't that a good thing that he's pushing for anti-war stuff? Like,
we're,
what are
I'm
we
gonna get to
talking
that
about
in a
here?
moment. Just let me just show this. Okay, I also here's the one, the president, U.S. presidential candidate debate, and that's Blake Huber right there. And I also
Uh-huh.
have it timestamped if anybody wants to go to the spot where it says I asked U.S. presidential candidates for a meeting between Josh Haley, myself, and Jill Stein. You can just click there and go exactly to the timestamped area where that happens in the video. So to get to the anti-war movement, remember I said that the CIA, right? I know this sounds conspiratorial, but this is my honest belief from what I've seen. The thing is that and during the Vietnam War, they realized that the regular U.S. population got mad about the pictures of the war crimes. So they said,
Right.
you know what? We don't want these people making trouble anymore. So the thing is that we're going to actually not show people any pictures of suffering anymore. So now you don't see the pictures of the war crimes like you used to. You get what I'm saying? Imagine we had a civil rights movement with no black people, no Martin Luther King, no Malcolm X. You'd be like, is that really real? If we take a look at
Okay.
or the women's suffrage movement with no Susan B. Anthony, you'd be like, what is that? Now we have anti-war movement. How many Americans can name a war victim? How many of them can name a Palestinian?
All right. So
Right?
I get it, but where is this headed? Like,
The thing is that
you
okay,
got me
so
on
the thing
suspense.
it's not the anti-war movement, it's partly a money grift, right? And because they know it's very popular, but it also makes sure that the anti-war movement stays controlled. So when you saw the big protests at Columbia, right, the state they're not encouraged to engage electorally. They're encouraged to engage in a protest that goes home and vents steam and then goes home and the problem goes away. That protest is supposed to be a first step towards ongoing change, but they make sure that it doesn't go there. And by making sure that the celebrities go up there instead of actual war victims would not accept an end to the activism. They would say, you know,
So
we gotta
you're saying it's like the whole anti-war thing is more of a smoke and mirrors to please the people, but it's not a real movement to actually stop the war. That's what you're saying?
exactly.
Got you. Okay. All right. I can see that. Yeah. Go ahead.
And
Yeah.
people who are actual war victims would not permit these kinds of, they call them performative, right, actions. But they wouldn't allow only performative things to happen. They would force, oh, we're going to go to this person for change and things like that. Right? We're going to actually try to force these things to happen. And behind the scenes,
Right.
there's actually very chilling things happening with, like people say Mossad does all this kind of like heavy work, blah, 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 right? It's probably not just Mossad, probably CIA, it's probably other intelligence agencies as well that are here in New York
Right.
that are also
So
all
let's get back on the
people
topic.
are
Like, what is it that you want to whistleblow on? Like,
okay. So the corruption in the third party space, that's actually why I ended up joining the Republicans, because the thing is that the Greens, the leadership has been completely compromised.
how?
The
How they compromise?
Okay, so if they're working together, Jill Stein, Nick Brana, Marion Williamson, right? Yeah, all
I
these other
got you. They're
big
all
names
connected.
that you know
Okay.
about. There's other, by the way, third parties who I've worked with in the past, like Independent Party of Delaware, or there's other presidential candidates or independents who I've worked with personally, but
Hmm.
you'll notice that the news never covers them, just like the news never covers you. Your stuff
Right.
is so relevant. You're as an Asian American pioneer, like I am just so pleased that I ever got to meet you. Like just, it's so
Thanks, bro.
inspiring to find someone
Yeah,
who
but nobody likes a whistleblower, especially an Asian whistleblower. So, that's why
there's
we get
other
ignored all
whistleblowers
the
too
time. Yeah.
who are actually also in this journey. I've gotten to see it's not just me. It's people like yourself, people like Theo, who's doing other work. I've met I work with the longest wrongfully incarcerated man in New York State history and done many events with him.
You
He's
mentioned Theo, so
also
Theo is, he means Theo Chino. He's, also a people's activist. He's ran for politics a couple times. He's helped other people run for politics, and he's a true socialist, not the communist socialist, but like the good kind. And he's been doing a lot of work. Shout out to Dio. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah, his work as in terms of like revealing what's going on with the third party transfer and Sia Weaver is extremely relevant. No
Right.
one's talking about it. He's literally facing eviction right now. He's literally being
Yeah.
evicted from his building. He's going through eviction proceedings
So
right
show
now.
us the dirt, man. Show us the dirt. Let's see.
Press doesn't care. Press doesn't care. So yeah, like well, a lot of it is available through the open secrets, like I showed you before. I showed you the sex charges that was going on with Scott Ritter. Oh, let me show you who's connected to the Scott Ritter stuff. Oh, okay. So all the probably the people that you know. So let's take a look at this. Okay. Yeah. When as soon as RFK hired Trent Poole, I was like, this has got to be okay. So what I say I was gonna check out. Okay, in YouTube, I'm gonna
That
type in
sex
Scott
offender
Ritter.
guy that's still in politics, like, that's just amazes me that they allow him to, like, still be so heavily involved, man. It's just crazy.
They're working together. The thing is that he's being pushed, right? It's not natural how many people are having him on his show. Actually, I was very interested to ask Kiriakou. You'll notice that Kiriakou has never appeared with Scott Ritter either. He's appeared with Bustamante, but that it would just be interesting to see what his take on it is because some of the people around
Well, Bustamante,
yeah, but I like Kiriakou.
Andrew Bustamante, the other CIA, guy, the ex-CIA guy, he's not a whistleblower, but, he's a true believer of the CIA system, right? So if somebody's a true believer, they're gonna push the CIA agenda, so
Yeah, you've seen this, and actually I can go to the thing, but you see George Galloway, Chris Hedges, Scott Ritter, Jill Stein on CN Live. They try to quietly put it away, but they are it sounds so disturbing because it is, right? This is, you can see in the footage of them, like, all hanging out together. Chris Hedges right here, remember they were all with the People's Party. If you go watch the People's Party convention, it's the same team of people, and they're corrupting there is also, this year, because I've been getting together third party independent candidates for my own personal debates, which I've been doing for several years now. This year, they had something called the Free and Equal debates, where they had Jill Stein, Claudia De La Cruz, and also some
so
other
this
larger
is this is this is basically showing that the People's Party and all these other, parties that pay for, like, protests and stuff like that, they're all intertwined, and they're all basically, you're saying, stealing campaign funds and
and it's
pedophiles.
controlled by elites who are engaged in sex abuse, right? And who are using like it's the
Wow, that's
same Jeff
crazy.
Epstein stuff and Harvey Weinstein stuff all over again. The same tricks that they use in the entertainment field. Oh, we're going to give you a way up. We're going to make your career. We're going to cover this issue. We're going to make sure that this issue doesn't get covered, like your own issue, right? We're going to make sure your story is fantastic, but how come no one talk? There's a whole movie about Serpico. He's like a
Right.
known name.
But
I also
you think candidates like AOC and stuff like that know about this? Like, other politicians that
okay. So here's another thing, right? The thing is that a lot of people like to make excuses for these people, like, "Oh, he didn't know. Like Yang didn't know what's going on." Okay, the thing is that I've owned businesses before, and the thing is that that's their business to know these things.
right, of
They're going to
course.
know it better than you or me because they think about it day and night and affects their everyday lives.
Right. They
They're
just weigh the
professionals.
decision of, "Should I turn a
Yeah,
blind eye or not?" Yeah.
but I can't really blame her 100% because being in the game as well, right? The thing is that Um, the average person is not paying anybody to look out for their interests. So you get the activists you deserve, which is they don't get an activist, right? The ones who get the activists are the lobbyists who are trying to hold on to contracts or do some other crooked stuff, right? Regular people don't invest in activism. So they
Right.
don't get it.
So
So
basically, your whistleblowing is revealing that these third party campaigns, such as the People's Party and stuff like that, the Green Party, all of those stuff, they're all the same. It's just rebranding, and it's all the same people behind them, jumping back and forth and stuff like that. And they're all basically stealing campaign funds,
yeah,
sexual abuse, pedophiles, and they're
people are
they're
shocked
they're
that
basically playing us as sheep, playing the people like sheep. That's what they're doing.
and the thing is that Jeff Epstein was only arrested once for child traffic for that sex the pedophile stuff.
Right.
What's his name? Scott was arrested twice. It's even worse.
I thought there's a mandatory sentence, like, he didn't do time? I mean,
He did do time. He did do time.
how much time did he do? Because it's supposed
I
to be,
think he
like,
did like
I
5
think
years.
mandatory
I gotta
15
look it up
years
again.
or something like that, right?
He didn't do 15. He did a shorter time. I think he only did 5 or something because
Oh,
he was
wow.
busted in Sting. He didn't actually write. He didn't
Oh, it
actually
wasn't here. Wasn't here
yeah.
in the US. Okay, I
So yeah,
got you.
but he got busted twice in Stings. So it's
That's
crazy
crazy.
on tape.
Just That's just well, it actually doesn't surprise me because to see the dirty stuff that they do during politics, like, when you run for politics and stuff like that, like, I ran for politics, so I've seen the dirty stuff that they do, and it's worse than the NYPD. It's darker, it's more dirtier, it's a higher level game, and, it doesn't really surprise me, but it's just so disgusting to know that they're also, like, involved in, like, pedophile stuff. It's
The
crazy,
Puff
man.
Daddy, Harvey Weinstein, and Jeff Epstein stuff is going on right now. The
Right,
same
of course.
activities are still going on right now.
Right, of course. Yeah. That's just
So
crazy, bro.
it is. It is. Thank
So
you for
so ho
letting me come and talk about it, 'cause
what have you faced? What difficulties have you faced so far, like, or what made you wanna speak out about this and stuff like that, you know what I
I've
mean?
been completely blackballed, but the thing is that all my life, right, the reason why I'm an activist is because growing up, I would ask myself, why am I different from everybody else, right? I'm different
Right.
because my family fled a war, right? Why am I, right? Why am I always portrayed as a cuck, right? Because of my family lost the war, right? And look, the thing is that I take a
Well,
lot of
part of
inspiration
being
from,
blackballed is because you're Asian.
yeah.
They
Look,
don't give any Asian they don't give Asians any play, you know? It's
Asian
I think
Americans have dominated academics since the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s. That's half a
yeah,
century, 50 years. Most people cannot name an Asian American scientist or an Asian American entertainer because without political power, nothing you do, achieve, or sacrifice can be
yeah.
celebrated or acknowledged.
And we have nobody really speaking out for us, we don't have a Al Sharpton, we don't have a Jesse Jackson, we don't have, we
We
didn't
do,
have
but
a
they don't
Martin
talk
Luther
about
King and stuff,
it. Yeah,
you
that's
know?
why you're incredible. That's why I never stop
I'm
standing for you.
trying to build my platform so I could be that person to give people a space where they could talk, you know what I'm saying? Where you
But you're
could
not
bring
safe,
stuff like this
bro.
to
You're not
light.
safe taking on the system. They don't want other Asian Americans becoming like you. They want it to be, accepting the
Listen,
crap.
they already do me up in Rikers and stuff like that, and, you know what I'm saying? They already took away my pension. I've been due a lot and, you know, being due it, like, I don't wanna get, um religious here, but or
Yeah.
too spiritual here, but I believe that the universe and, God, the higher force is looking out and, there's gonna be a shift. There's gonna be a shift. There has to be a balance, right? All this stuff that you see in the news and media that's happening right now is just so unbalanced where it's so much negativity and there's a lot of stuff coming to light. And I think that, the truth will always come out, bro. You know what I'm saying? So, go ahead, continue your
I
fight,
think
man.
that, I have a different theory of change though, just so you know, right? The thing is that, like, remember I told you about like the sports analogy? So the thing is that let's pretend like, we're both professional boxers, right? And we have
Mhm.
a bout coming up for the championship. We have a big game. We're both rich and famous, right? And the thing is that everybody knows I'm using steroids. You can see the acne. You can see me free flipping out. Everybody knows. And you're even with your money and power saying, look, this guy, he's using steroids. You hear it happen in boxing matches all the time. People saying, this guy's obviously using steroids. Fight still goes on because even if you quit and protest, someone else will fight for the money and the title, right? They'll replace you. They don't care, right? Even though
Right.
you're rich and famous, the game cannot fix. Right, these celebrities cannot fix it. It's not a fair game for even them. The thing is that the people on the ground have to say, you know what, this boxing match is whack because these people are using performance enhancing drugs. I can't support this crap, right? This is not cool. Only then can the actual thing change. So the thing is that just being an activist for a long time, I really believe in we need to change. When we look at what so many Asian parents love education,
Mhm.
once again, I said, what's the use of education, right? Like, no one can name an Asian American scientist or, musician. All we do is, when you go out on the weekend, you see like, 8-to-1 ratio of interracial relationships that only
Yeah,
go
but
one
that
direction. You're like, this is
you gotta
not
bring it out in
important.
the education system because that's not taught, right? That kind of stuff
Yeah.
is not taught in the educational system.
We're not taught to empower ourselves. We're taught to make someone else rich.
Right,
We need our
right.
own empowerment.
Yeah, so the people needs to wake up. I totally agree with that, where celebrities, even if they sacrifice their career and they speak out, they're not in a position of power to change it. They may be able to reach out, they have a larger platform where they can reach out to people, but ultimately the people needs to wake the F up and wanna change and hope to change and make the change, you know what I'm saying? Even when it
Yeah.
comes to, police reform and stuff like that, right? If you wanna fight the corruption and stuff like that, the people need to speak out like, "Hey, look, we wanna hold this person accountable. We wanna," they gotta show that kinda stuff. We get otherwise, a lot of people keep their head down, they just mind their own business until it happens to them. It's not important until it happens to them, and that mentality needs to change, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I absolutely agree with that, bro. But damn, man, like, it's sad to hear that you're facing this, while you're running for election and stuff like that, that you're being blackballed and stuff. And I was actually rooting for you, man. I was hoping that, that you get in office, bro. We need people like you in office. You know what I'm saying?
You know, the numbers are 8 to 1, and also because of my current status right now, I'm unable to open up a bank account, right? So, I wasn't able to open up a funds. So the thing is that a lot of the press are not gonna take my campaign seriously, but I've been elected before. A lot of what I've done has been undone, and the thing is that, just so you know, the party that I'm running for state assembly, but as you might know, that position is highly controlled by, party leadership.
Right,
Right? We're not gonna
right.
co-sign the bill, we're gonna choke out your district, right? We're gonna primary you next season, and people are gonna be mad at you. We're gonna set you up, we're gonna get rid of you. But what
Yeah,
people don't know about, right, is actually how the judges are selected, right? There's no primary for them. There's like a committee that decides who the nominees are. You don't, right? You just end up voting on the day of. You don't really know who they are. There's some crooked stuff going
right,
on with that, right? The judge, right? Do you have a law like you say, like, weed's illegal, everybody's smoking everywhere? It's not illegal, right? It's what's enforced. There's a
right.
difference. Yeah. So there's a law on the streets and a law on the paper, and those things are completely different. So
Yep,
they
yep,
control the real law. They control the judges and the real law while we're out here, right?
yeah,
Going through the motions. So
yeah,
really, and we
yeah.
know, and to tell you the truth, we know that the system's been fixed when people like you get justice. That's until that's true, then it's all fake. So I don't
If
care about
if
nothing else.
if I get justice, right? I'm just right now at this point, like, what I would like to see what will happen is they call me in, like, "Yo, listen, we heard your story. We want you to help us change it and fix it," right? And that's the ultimate thing, like, I would love to see it happen, right? If
See, for me,
a good
thing is
politician
for me,
call me
right?
in.
Yeah. The more they make me suffer, the more I get to prove my commitment. But for me, right, I'm a single guy, so I could do whatever I want. But you have a
Yeah,
family, so you're
yeah.
not just thinking about
And
yourself,
that's
kids.
That's that's the thing, right? Like, it's been
Yeah,
harder on my family than been on me, and especially when they go after your family because they don't it's not like back in the day street gangs where, like, family is off limits and stuff like that. They have no rules, and they are ruthless. They go after your family, they go after your kids, they go after everything around you to force you, to do certain things or force you to stop and stuff like that, and, you know fortunately, like, my family's been supportive and they know it's the right thing, but they don't wanna go through it, But,
yeah.
it's just, man, it's just crazy, man.
So
I applaud you.
because I don't really have my family around, because I ran away from home at the age of 16, due to the violence that I faced from the war, right? Yeah, the residual violence, the generational trauma, which I don't get to talk about, but it is what it is. I'd like to help other Koreans deal with that as well too, and bring that up as an issue. But really, we need a grassroots, ground up movement, and I can't be a savior because I've been in that position before, and actually what happens is the people who's paying attention are the grifters, and they actually, right, because they see a way to get gain for themselves. So we have to just do a ground up movement. But really, the more they make you suffer, Steve, the higher my respect goes for you too, and it's a chance for you to shine brighter. Because the thing is that you can show that
Thank
you
you.
didn't quit despite whatever they threw at you. You still
Right.
trying to look at your show, man. You're still helping people. You're still making this. You're still bringing light to
I'm trying, but yeah, as you see,
it, bro.
YouTube is
You
blocking
Iron
me.
Man.
I see Facebook shadow blocking me and stuff like that, and, it's hard. But let's use this platform, right? So, what
Yeah,
is it
all
that
the
you need from people? What are you calling for right now? Like, what would you like to see happen?
okay. So the thing is that this is really effective when we talk about the kids right now. The kids, when they learn math in school, they learn like y equals mx plus b, the slope of a line. And if that line is curved, right, they're going to learn calculus, the derivative, to really to find the complicated issue. But the thing is that you don't know, the kids don't know how to improve the quality of the food at the school. You talk to the mayor, you talk to the board of elections, you talk to your board of education, you talk to the state senator. Who do you talk to? They don't teach you to help yourself. So I really want people to just start realizing that, instead of being you're taught that, you have to buy this bag or you have to have this kind of a house or this kind of a car to be successful. Just make it up for yourself. Stop letting other people dictate what success is for you, right? Stop buying these celebrities and start looking at what's impacting your own life. A lot of people are talking about what's going on overseas, right? We want to fix what's going on in Iran and Israel, Palestine. And I appreciate that. But as someone who suffered from war myself, you cannot fix overseas until you fix home. So what's going on in your local community, right? Yeah, it's easier to say, look at the enemy way over there. Look at Trump. He's the bad guy. Not saying he's perfect, right? Yeah. But he's not interacting with you in daily life. He's not really right. He's not there saying, you're going to get this ticket or this fine. He doesn't ride the trains with us. He doesn't understand our issues like you do, right? You ride the train, right? You're dealing with the traffic here in New York City. He's in DC, right? And not hating on him, but he's just not the same level of connection. So
Right. So
I
you're
would say,
saying what you're
yeah,
saying is actually really deep and spiritual, right? Like, whereas, like, you want people to wake up and start, instead of learning calculus and all this other stuff, how to help other people, you got to worry about helping yourself first because you can't help other people if you can't help yourself,
yeah,
right? And
yeah.
you
No,
know
you have no
that's a
credibility.
big saying in Chinese like culture, right? You're not able to help others if you can't help yourself. Right? So, let's worry about home first. Let's worry about here first. Let's fix our problems before we go and worry about other problems that we can and that we waste money on, right? And yeah, I totally agree with that, man. I totally agree with that. But that's what they want. They want you to be distracted. It's a distraction, right? They want you to be distracted with the war and stuff like that. They want you to be distracted with, all this other stuff. Meanwhile, stuff like Epstein files and, pedophile stuff and all that stuff, like all that stuff skates under the radar, dies out, and people forget about it, right? Um, I noticed that people have short-term memories, right? So it's like when it's not election time, the politicians are doing things that they promised to do. They're not doing it and stuff like that, or they're doing other things that are actually hurting the people in society, whatever that they're being pushed for by big, PACs and corporations and lobbyists and stuff like that. And then when it comes to election time, now is all of a sudden, well, we need to do this, we need to do that, we need to do this. And I always hate it when I see politicians speak at protests and stuff, and they're like, we need to do this, we need to do that. And it's like, my guy or my girl, like, you're the one that's in office. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have the power. So why aren't you doing it? Why are you saying that we need to do it when you're not doing it? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're trying to hype us up, and I'm like standing there, I'm like, everybody's cheering on and like, yeah, clapping and chanting. And I'm like, you're buying into this? Like, you don't understand what like the bigger picture, like he's in office, like this person is in office. This is a politician that's speaking. They have the power to do it, but then they're telling us that we need to do it. We need to change and do this and do that and do this. He just wants your vote because he's been in office for like so long. You know what I'm saying? So it's like they're not doing it. So wake up. Why are you cheering? Why are you chanting? You should be like, do it. You know what I mean? You're in office, do it. You know? So yeah, it always bothers me when politicians speak at the protests and stuff. It's just feels like it's just a photo op and opportunity to like rally the people and play them like sheep. It's crazy.
The media is in bed with them too, just so you know. To the
Yeah, of course.
year, a lot of
Yeah,
the
of course.
not-for-profits, you'll see them literally give thousands and thousands of dollars to media channels and personalities. That way they control right? Once again, your story is actually legendary and there should be documentaries on it, right? And actually at all the, we
Nah,
just went
no media wants beef with NYPD, bro.
who's
You
that?
know what I'm saying? No,
Oh,
no,
yeah.
no media wants beef with NYPD. So it's just like how like okay, when Trump was first in office, right? Just to just show you, right? When Trump was
Yeah.
first in office, media was very anti-Trump, right? There was a lot of every
Yeah.
time he messed up, every time he did something. I'm not saying I'm a big Trump fan, but I'm just pointing out the facts, right? It's just to show the contrast. But then now that Trump got back in office again, he learned from that mistake and he reined them in.
Yeah.
He reined them in. And now you can see, like, even CNN is not even messing with Trump that much. CNN used to be a very big Trump hater. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But he did something or said something, and they're not playing that game anymore. Yeah, they're actually like kind of like the media is actually helping Trump, if anything. You know what I'm saying?
They've
So
really
it,
yeah. Absolutely,
So
yeah.
it's not like the facts changed. He's still the same person, still saying still saying the same things, still doing the same things, but you see that they don't highlight all his mistakes anymore. You know what I'm saying? And that just shows you that media is not something that you should rely on. You should definitely do your own research and like, dig deep. We have the internet now. It's not like back in the days. Everything's on the internet, and it's like, you know what I'm saying? You could like,
Also, this yeah, the so-called third-party independent media space is deeply compromised. There's so many people that I've met, like you're like, I'm gonna try to get you on some more shows, by the way. But
yeah,
I've, contacted so many of them about some things I've talked about and some of the other cases I've talked about. Once again, I've worked the longest for wrongfully incarcerated in state history, and we're starting to make some progress. But,
yeah.
definitely you're one of my top guys that I have hopes for, man, for real. Like,
Thanks, man. I
you're
appreciate it. I
as
appreciate
age
it,
you are
brother.
too.
But just to wrap it up, man, like, I really appreciate you coming on the show and reviewing this stuff and like, I knew politics was dirty. I knew like these parties with the were like corrupt and stuff like that. Like they had their own agendas, they had their own plan, and they're not really like elections and politics is not really what people think it is. Whereas like, oh, the people vote, so it's the power to the people and stuff. And it's like, no, it's a very strategic chess game, and they put in the pieces where they want to put them, and they put in the people that they want to put in. Like, even, like, with Mandami and, Como and Curtis Sliwa when they were running, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's all strategized, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
if you would it doesn't matter who you pick, alright? It's an illusion, it's a shell game, it doesn't matter who you pick, you're gonna get the same results, you know what I'm saying?
Also the Republican, the Democrats at the top are working together. It seems like they're fighting, but it's like wrestling. They have these fights kinda scripted in advance because they don't
Yeah,
want someone
absolutely.
like
You saw
yourself.
that when the Republicans were backing Como. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
The Republicans hated Como, and then Como lost the Democratic Party line, and then he ran as an independent. And I knew that was coming because as soon as he registered as an independent, also when you first do your ballots, you have to get
yeah,
petitions, right? So as soon as I saw him doing petitions for as an independent, I already knew he doesn't plan on winning the Democratic line. He's going to run as an independent, and then that's just going to split the votes with the Republicans and then the Republicans jumped in and backed Como instead and told Sliwa to hop out when Sliwa was actually a Republican and he was the Republican candidate. They should have backed Sliwa. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what the
yeah.
party should have done. It's like you're working for Google and then Google's like telling you go vote for freaking Facebook. Like it just makes no sense to me. Like you should have backed Sliwa. You should have backed your
I like to
candidate.
use this
You know?
I like to use this example, right? Like, if you're a Knicks fan and I'm, like, a Lakers fan,
Right.
and then we're, like, fighting each other, like, we're mad at each other and stuff like that, and then the Lakers come into town, and they play the
Mm.
Knicks, and then afterwards, they don't wanna hang out with either one of us, neither the Knicks or the Lakers, right? Because 'Cause they're the players, and they're balling on another level, and they're
Right.
pro players, and we're just, like, fans, so they
Right.
can't be with us, right? So we fighting each other, meanwhile, they don't wanna hang out with either of us. They're going to their
Right,
own pro.
exactly, exactly, and they do that on purpose because they wanna divide us, right? The whole there is
Yeah,
You gotta get out of the illusion of Republican Party and Democrat Party or I'm left, I'm right. You gotta get rid of that illusion because they want us separated, they want us divided, they want us fighting amongst ourselves, you know what I'm saying? So they could
absolutely.
continue their magic show and their illusions and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So if you like I sat down with people on the left and on the right, like you have, right? And if we sit down, we're actually fighting for the same issues. The people are
Absolutely.
actually fighting the same issues, just the way it's presented is different, right? And they do that on purpose so that, saying like Republicans don't want war, Democrats don't want war. I'm not talking about the party, but I'm talking about people, right? Nobody
Yeah.
wants war. You know what I'm saying? Nobody wants genocide and stuff. Nobody wants to bomb kids and stuff like that. Nobody
Notice that
likes,
when they okay, like, we heard about the Nick Shirley who actually, like, revealed the corruption going on in Minnesota, right?
mhm,
There was a lot of people who was, like, trying to get their kids into a daycare who weren't able to get them in, and they would complain and nothing would happen, but instead they send in some outsider, right, to go and report and bust the stuff, and then the story can go away. The same thing's
right.
true, right, with the, anti-war movement. You can see that the people who are affected don't get to speak anything. Instead, they send in some outsider, some celebrity to speak for the movement, and then that person goes away, and that's how they prevent the
Yeah, it's
progress.
the illusion. It's the illusion where it's like, oh, we took care of it, and meanwhile, it's still going on in the background. Same thing with police corruption. Like I arrested the when we ended up arresting the lieutenant and the detective, and then they're like, "Oh, it's an isolated incident. We took care of it." But meanwhile, the corruption is still going on. It's still
Exactly.
there. You know what I'm saying? You still hear about it. It's actually worse now. You know what I'm saying? They're actually doing more in the open now. And that's the crazy part of it. It's like people really need to wake up and be like, nah, I want to see real change. I want to see the NYPD get restructured. I want to see the way I interact with them. If I bump into them, they're not going to be seeing me as the enemy. You know what I'm saying? I want to see them as the person that's going to help me instead. You know what I'm saying? Like people need to wake up because the left and the right, there is no left and right. It's only forward, right? Like that's one of the good things I heard that Andrew Yang said, where it's like, let's move forward, right? Let's not worry about the left. Let's not worry about the right. Let's move forward, right, and get things done. Otherwise, we keep fighting the left and right. We keep fighting. We're just gonna be stuck there.
I also wanna give
You
out
know
my
what I'm saying?
love to Yang Gang right now. I know that I kinda, like, make things hot for Yang when he's in town, but the thing is that I think that it's the job of the Yang Gang to help Yang get more aligned. You can't just be you're not really someone's friend if you say yes to everything they do. A real friend tells you the
Right,
truth. We're not saying that
right.
Yang is all bad or all good, but when he screws up, you gotta encourage him to be accountable. It's better for his brand and for him. So
Yeah,
stop
yeah.
just
E-
yesing
even even like you know,
stop
I gotta admit, right? So the guy I ran against, whatever, you know, out of all the politicians I called, right? Because I know all my local politicians, right? Like personally, I have their phone numbers. I could call them up, right? And I call them up and I try to bring up my issue and my fight and stuff like that. They all ignore me, right? They all ignore me. I mean, the city council's office, they try somebody in the office try to like research or whatever. They're like, "Oh, you got to fight it legally," and I'm like, "Yeah, I know that, but I'm not going to win in legal because the court system is going to side with them, right?" So, one of the cases, this person, he actually, you know, got a contact for me to call, and person I was able to talk to and stuff like that. He was the only one to actually answer my text message. You know what I'm saying? He was like, "Okay, what is it? How can I help you?" And then he actually followed up on it. Like, I'm gonna give him credit for that. You know what I'm saying?
cool.
But you know what I'm saying? It's more of a okay, I did it. Now leave me alone. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like, "Hey, I solved the issue for you." You know what I'm saying? He's like, "Hey, I did what I can. Leave me alone now." But that's why the only person that you could really depend on is yourself, right? The people need to depend on themselves, like going back to what you were saying. Instead of us relying on politicians and going protesting and try to get other people to solve the issue for us, we need to solve the issue ourselves. We need to come together, forget about the left and right, forget about Zionists or pro Palestine and stuff like that. You know, and to be official on that, my stance is, you know, I'm pro Palestine. I don't like what Israel is doing. I don't I seen the things they do. They've been taking money from us all this time, and them trying to expand the land outward and stuff like that and try to take over more land is, to me, it brings back like memories of like when Japan tried to do that to China during the war and stuff like that. And it's not cool. You know what I'm saying? I think they should just be happy with what they have and be happy that they have that. And then to use religion and all those stuff, and if you speak out on it, I'm probably gonna get banned for that now. Like, you know what I'm saying? But
Well, just so you know, I've actually just been Korean, right? My country's on the same timeline of manipulation as Israel Palestine. I know that also, Japan did not just also take over Korea during World War II. They also messed a lot with China, actually,
mhm,
even before, right? They were messing with China before even World War II in big ways.
yeah,
But the thing is that if you take a look at the and by the way, I am overall for Palestine, but I know it's not as simple as that because I know like a lot of
right.
Arabs who were displaced. So it's right. It's become. But just to get to the point again, notice that the anti-war movement, right, or the Israel-Palestine thing, is Candace Owens, it's Erica Kirk, it's Medea Benjamin. There's not really Palestinians or actually even right Israeli Jews, right, that we're really talking about in the movement. It's all
Yeah.
very controlled.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
like that with other protesters, even for like Black Lives Matter or like
Yeah.
Stop Asian Hate movements and stuff like that. It's always like other ethnicities that are coming out and they're trying to speak for us, and it's like you don't know how it is to be Asian, you don't know how it is to be Palestinian, you don't know what's going on. Like,
It's
I
okay
I
for them
have
to be
I have
there. It's
friends
not
that
okay to replace us.
right. I have friends that because they're trying to control the narrative, right? They want to make sure that this movement only goes so far. right? And then they could
Absolutely.
nip it in the butt. You know what I'm saying? But like I have friends that live in Iraq and stuff like that from online. Like, like I play video games online with them and stuff. And, I have friends with them on Discord. And he was saying, the government out there is so bad. He was actually happy that the government got taken down and stuff like that. People were protesting, people were finally speaking up and stuff. It's a scary moment though. He was like, "Yo, I can't, I won't be online for a little bit because they're gonna turn off the internet." And I'm like, "What do you mean they can turn off the internet?" Like to me, that's like a crazy thing. Like, how do you turn off the internet? Isn't it everywhere? Like, no, the government is able to control it. They turn it off whenever a protest is happening. They turn it off, and then they do their thing just where nobody could broadcast it out. And then, that's what happened. Like the protesters got killed by the government and stuff like that. The Iraqi government and people in power, and they squashed it. And then, people were silenced on it, right? And
Yeah.
that's one of the good things I saw about you know, the US taking action is to remove the government, but I'm not also naive enough to think, oh, it's for the betterment of the people. Like they have their own agendas for it, right? But
Yeah.
what I'm saying, like there's issues there that could have been solved differently. If the world actually woke up and like supported them, like, all right, your government is bad. We support you and we will help you change the regime for the better and stuff like that. Then and hold them accountable, right? Yeah, it could have been changed peacefully, but of course, governments are all together, right? They all have their own thing and their own dirt, and then they work together, and they want their own people in office and stuff like that. Like you said, the CIA and stuff, they control a lot of the regime changes and stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I want to thank
And the
you for
media
coming on the show.
coverage.
You know what I'm saying? Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
keep up the good fight, man. Be strong, man. I know you're in a bad situation, right? Like, I don't know if you found housing yet and stuff like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you okay, bro?
I'm good though. Actually, I hang out with some millionaires and billionaires and stuff like that, right? Because as a DJ, meet people that are poor and rich on both sides of it, and some of those people go, some of them go camping in Mongolia and stuff like that, right? They'll be living and roughing it. So, I'm still able to. I'm a street performer, and I can take care of myself. And I'm very blessed. I love being American. I love having the freedom. I love having the internet on. And I
Yeah.
love meeting people like yourself that are really you're an inspiration to me, Steve. Just so you know, I
Yeah,
meet a
thank
lot
you.
of
Thank you,
different
man.
and
You're
stuff like
you're
that.
inspiration also, like, to see you in that situation and still fighting, like, it inspires me also, you know what I'm saying? I thank you for that too, you know?
I'm a war survivor. This is nothing. This is not bad. This is good. I'm living
Yeah.
good. I'm enjoying my life.
Yeah. I also wanna say, look, I love my freedom. I love, I'm thankful for what soldiers go do to so that I could be free. What the bigger picture, what the government is trying to do to keep your freedom and stuff like that. It's just I don't like what is becoming of this, where it's going to be more government control and all this other stuff. Like, what I'm saying, like, I guess
Yeah,
I'm a true socialist when it comes to, I want less government control. I want more power to the people. Yeah, I want free healthcare. Yeah, I want free education. Yeah, I want free housing and stuff like that. But I also realize things aren't free, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to work for it,
yeah.
and you know, I understand some people just don't have the means to work for it, but we all can't be like that, right? We all got to do our part. We all got to, put in our
I
work.
was I was a Medicare for All activist, but that activism is all run by the drug companies and the doctors, and the actual victims of the malpractice don't get they're actually suppressed and shut out from the activism. If I say
That's
Medicare for
crazy.
All activism, can you think of anybody who was negatively affected by the medical industry who no, right? It's all this people
Yeah,
standing on the floor holding a sign. Who's funding that?
the system is definitely messed up, man, but I think it's messed up to a point where people are actually starting to see it, and there's a change coming, I think, you know what I'm saying? I think there's
Absolutely.
definitely a change coming, and hopefully the change will be good, but thank you for coming on, man, I appreciate it, man. So just to wrap it up, you know what I'm saying? DJ Elf fighting dirty politics, bro. Dirty politics, very dirty. Child molesters, not even just one time, but two-time child molesters, candidate manipulation and voters manipulation and stuff like that. And, you know, people need to wake up. You know what I'm
The
saying?
media control that suppresses your story and mine.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. Absolutely. Thank you, man. I hope I don't
God bless
get
you.
banned for this. All
God
right,
bless
brother. Be safe, man.
you. Have a good one.
All right.